Hey y'all, I posted last night about this full moon that we've got going on, like actually pretty much right now. Um, and I had pretty good response for it. It's actually kind of took me off guard. I wasn't expecting so much positive feedback on it, so I really appreciate that. And so anyway, I wanted to get on here and kind of explain what exactly is going on, why I said what I did about the moon, and just kind of give y'all a little bit of the energetics of it, in case you can't come tonight. If you don't know what I'm talking about coming tonight, I will be at Franklin Ferry Marina on the pier tonight at about 9 to just do some meditation, set my intentions for this coming lunation. And I mentioned last night that there's a super just really powerful energy of like a sisterhood, divine feminine sisterhood, soul sisters. And so I would really love to have y'all tonight, or really any full moon. Anytime you want to come out here and look at the stars with me, honestly, I'm down, but especially on the full moons and the new moons. And y'all, the next few full moons we've got are hella wild. And it's all leading up to a eclipse in October, on October the 14th. And I'm hoping to get some info out to y'all about that one because it is a big one. But anyway, let's talk about today. So the full moon is taking place at 9 degrees of Aquarius, and this picture that you've got on the screen right now is from the Moonology Oracle deck, and I just thought it was really pretty and appropriate. But the quote for this particular full moon in this Moonology deck says to be real. And there's another one that I saw that said something along the same lines of show up in the world as your true self. Be real about who you are. And I think that is perfect, considering all the other stuff that's going on right now. Which, speaking of which, we have also got this bad boy. Let me see if I can get myself out of the way here. Nope, not really. But anyways. We have got Venus retrograde right now in Leo. And so a full moon is when the sun and the moon are exactly opposite each other on the wheel. So the full moon is in Aquarius, but exactly opposite that on the wheel, and I'll show you that in just a second, is going to be Leo. And so the sun right now is in Leo, and we've also got this Venus retrograde happening in Leo. And what the Venus retrograde is asking of us is to figure out what parts of our lives, specifically in relationships. Leo has to deal a lot with friend groups and relationships with friends, not your significant other. This is not, well, it can be. Venus in itself is romantic relationships, but this is not, the retrograde itself being in Leo is not specifically dealing with one-to-one relationships. It's more like your circle, your inner circle, but just figuring out what part of your life is working and what part, if any, aren't, and figuring out what to do about it. Retrogrades are a time for introspection and to kind of review what's been going on since the last retrograde, which was last year. I didn't look up the dates, but I'm just going ahead and read the top so I can move myself back on top of it. The most courageous thing she ever did was unapologetically follow her heart. And that is just the overarching theme, really, of this whole lunation, this whole month. The Venus retrograde started on July the 22nd. The shadow period actually started on June the 19th. So if you think back, about a month and a half, about 5 weeks ago, whatever came up for you at that time is kind of what this Venus retrograde is. That was like a preview. And so now it's in the thick of it, of having to do that introspection and figure out if it's working for you or if it's not, and if it's not, if you can change it and make it work, or if it's just time to let it go and say goodbye to that part of your life. And I know it's easier said than done, and let me tell you something, my personal relationships right now are feeling it, so I'm with you there. But this is really, really powerful energy, as you're about to see, coming in with this full moon. And just a side note, we do have a blue moon this month in August, so we've got a full moon in Aquarius today, and then on August the 31st, right before Venus goes back out of retrograde and turns direct, we have a full moon in Pisces, I want to say. Cannot believe I don't remember that, but I think it's Pisces. And just to wrap this up about the Venus retrograde, it's 40 days. So 40 days and 40 nights we've got to go and do this introspection and figure out what stays and what goes. So do it to it. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. And but let me show you how supportive the universe is right now for these really, really huge changes that are almost always difficult to make. The unknown is kind of uncomfortable for all of us, and it's hard decisions to let go of what is in your comfort zone without the promise of what's coming being any better. But you got to do it. You got to do it. You can't stay in the same stagnant energy and expect anything to change. For something to change, something's got to change, and most of the time it's you. But oh, and also Venus went almost all the way to the end of Leo. At 29 degrees is where she turned back around and went retrograde. And 29 of Leo is conjunct, or right exactly on top of the star Regulus, which is the royal star. It is regal and queen bee energy. So that's where she turned around at. She realized who she was, turned around and go figure out some things, and she's coming back. So just let this be an encouragement. I guess that's really my only goal here. But let's get to the star stuff. So this is the chart that we've got here, and this is what I was talking about earlier with Leo here and Aquarius here. And you can see that they're opposite each other on the wheel. So full moon is when the sun, which is here at 9 degrees of Leo, is exactly opposite the moon, which is here at 9 degrees of Aquarius. Full moons are a time for conclusions. They are for wrapping things up, for bringing cycles to a close, closing doors that don't lead anywhere that we want to go anymore. It's just a culmination, really, of the events that began at the last lunation. And I apologize, I did not even look up to see when that was. But the main thing here is this goddess energy that we've got backing us right now, y'all. If you are a female, or if you identify with the feminine parts of yourself, and spoiler alert, we all have masculine and feminine energy inside of us. We are like a magnet with two sides of the polarity, and it's just a matter of finding the balance. So if you are a man, whether you are straight, curly, wavy, crooked, upside down, twisted, whatever you identify as, you've got the masculine and feminine, and this feminine energy coming in right now is really, really supporting us to heal all this junk that we've picked up the past few years, and kind of clean out the closets and prepare for these great, amazing energies that are coming in the next few months to years, really through 2015, 2015, Lord, 2025 or 2026 is kind of when all of this is going to have its grand finale. But I hate to break it to y'all, but this crazy energy that has been just getting wilder and wilder as we go on, it is going to do nothing but get faster and wilder. So y'all buckle up, clean out your closets right now, because you ain't going to want to hold on to all this stuff while you on this roller coaster ride. I promise you that. But if you know anything about astrology, you've probably heard of Sabian symbols, and so that's where I want to start out. Every degree on the wheel, so it's a circle, so obviously there's 360 degrees on the wheel, and so each individual one has a Sabian symbol that's attached to it. I haven't studied Sabian symbols, I just look them up every now and then because I think they're cool, and they usually align pretty perfectly with what I've got going on related to that degree. So I looked up the moon at 9 degrees of, there went my mouse, hope y'all didn't see that, but I looked up the moon at 9 degrees of Aquarius, and I'm just going to read what it says about it because it's pretty beautiful. The Sabian symbol for 9 degrees of Aquarius is "not all will understand you." And then the commentary on it says, "a popularity that proves ephemeral. This is a symbol of the eternal challenge which comes to an individual at every point of climax in his experience, and of the swing of the pendulum between an endorsement and a repudiation of his efforts by his social group." So, big words for saying sometimes your friends are with you and sometimes they ain't. Sometimes they got your back and sometimes they're looking at you like you're a little crazy. And we got to learn to accept both sides of that spectrum as the pendulum swings back and forth as we continue this ever-changing cycle that we're in this universe. How it works, it's on a cycle. We have to endure the highs and lows, and the parts where we've got a crowd in the audience and the part where we're playing for crickets. We got to, learn to roll with the punches where that's concerned. He must learn to accept the applause as encouragement in his self-strengthening, but to look for any continued sustainment from his own stability of being. So finding within yourself that validation and that applause and recognition that we all crave, every single one of us. Don't try to act like you don't, because we all need that validation from those that we care about to prove that they care about us. And it's fucked up, but that's how it is. A courageous self-confidence and an unflagging faith are worthy of recognition, but only in their moment of significance. So, when positive, this degree is a gift for bringing the issues of life to a dramatic consummation. So there you have the consummation, the conclusion, the wrapping it up of the full moon again. And this is just the degree on the wheel. It doesn't have anything to do with the moon or a planet or anything at all. It's just the actual spot on the wheel. So a dramatic consummation at a time of crisis, and when negative, prodigal opportunism. Things that are ephemeral, things that don't last, like the wind, the waves, your worries, your cares, all the comings and all the goings. Some will understand you and some will not, but what does it matter? Still you are you. Still I am me. Relax and let's just enjoy the ride. We're only here for a short while. So I thought that was really cool, and then I was like, I wonder what 9 of Leo says. So I looked it up. The darkness of a cold night is symbolic of our troubles and suffering, yet a new day always dawns, bringing its hope and fortifying the spirit. We have no choice but to engage with the trials and tribulations, yet with faith we will remember that sunrise always comes, and it brings with it a new day, a new way, potentially a feeling of optimism and joy, and we can choose to focus our attention on the night's terrors or the dawn's promise, and all that we become arises from this choice. I've got another video that I've already recorded that's going to be on YouTube within the next week, hopefully. I'm really, really bad with all this editing and stuff, so if any of y'all know how to edit videos and audio, please hit your girl up, because I ain't got a clue. But it is about this whole principle of choice and how our thoughts create our reality. And so you choose your thoughts. If you don't, who does? You're in control of your thoughts. So it's just really a matter of discipline, of self-discipline and self-control, and training your brain, training your mind to not wander to the night's terrors, to not dwell on those things, but to choose to focus on the morning, to choose to focus on the dawn that is coming. And in a reality where every part of our lives is created literally from our thoughts, and every thought is a choice. Even inaction is a choice, y'all. Even indecision is a choice. Even sitting there not knowing what to do because you're scared or it's your comfort zone and you don't know what's coming. Even staying stagnant like that is a choice. And so this here, oppositions in astrology, is a choice point. And so every full moon is a choice point of whether to stay in this energy that we've been in or to let it go if it doesn't work for us anymore and move on. And so 9 degrees of Leo is reformulation of self into a better, lighter expression of being, developing a sparkling expression of self. So choosing joy every day. Every day, even on the bad days, even when you're PMSing, even when your mama-in-law is on your back, even when you burnt supper, even when you're out of gas, even when the kids colored on the wall, choose joy. Choose joy and gratitude, and it will pay off, I promise. So that in and of itself is a lot. But as we continue to look here at what we've got, usually in transits, the axes don't really matter. So we've got the ascendant axis here and the midheaven axis here. And usually, like I said, like in transits, if we're comparing this to your natal chart, we really don't count these because they're mathematical equations based on the position of the sun. But I do want to note, before we go any farther, that the 10th house is like your career, your public reputation, and just the public face of you, who you show up as in life. And then the 4th house, so the 10th house is here, that's where the sun is, and then the 4th house is down here, that's where the moon is. So 10th house is career, professional life, public life, and then the 4th house is the exact opposite of that. It's your home, your family, your foundation, things that go bump in the night, the things that not everybody sees. And so that's the areas of this chart that this full moon is highlighting and bringing to our attention through all of these energies. But without going in too terribly much into all of the energetics of this, there's a lot going on. But the main things that I wanted to highlight here is the asteroids, actually. And asteroids don't get enough play. They are awesome and fascinating, and the stories behind them are just wild, to be honest, but super interesting. If you were into mythology or fairy tales or really anything like that, the fantasy kind of stories in high school or even still, you need to look into the asteroids of astrology because they've got some hella crazy stories. But to begin with, we've got, let me get rid of all of this. Hold on. All right. We've got Vesta here in Gemini, and she is trining Ceres here in Libra. And they are both trining the moon in Chariklo down here and Aquarius. So we've got all of the air signs. Aquarius is the water bearer, but it is an air sign. And so this is thought and communication and contemplation. It's the brain thing. It's the thing that your brain does and how it spits it out. Really highlighting that introspection energy of Venus as she does her retrograde back through Leo. But I know that y'all don't probably, any of you know what any of those mean, so I'm going to highlight it for you. Vesta was a priestess who was in charge of guarding a sacred flame. So basically, like the Ark of the Covenant or the Olympic flame. The flame, the hearth is what it was referred to, the flame in the hearth, and it was a sisterhood of devotion and of service to others and of profound purity and dignity. And so Vesta was the guardian of that flame, and she devoted her life in a nun-like manner, as far as she didn't get married, she didn't have kids, she wasn't a goddess, she was just a priestess, but she devoted her life to guarding this sacred flame and keeping the hearth burning as a sign of hope and home and hope and home. And you can come here and cast your burdens on this altar, and we will take care of you. That's the energy that Vesta carries, and just the devotion to stand guard over that flame and be ready to receive whoever responds to it. And she is communicating in a trine, which is a positive aspect, an easy aspect that does not require you to do a whole lot other than surrender. Trines and sextiles are positive aspects. Squares and oppositions are a little bit more challenging, but the trine aspect is the easiest of them all. And really, the divine has got your back, and they will. This energy will just float you through the next phase if you are willing to let go and surrender and let Source or God or the divine, whatever you want to call the creator of all of this mess, just let them have it, man. They got it. And so Vesta is having a positive communication, an easy, divinely guided conversation with Ceres. And Ceres is really the representation of the feminine energy throughout all of the seasons of life. So she's a maiden, she's a mother, she's a wife, she's a grandmother, she's the wise old village lady, she's the crazy old lady in the shack in the woods. Every season of life is covered under Ceres. She is nurturing and feisty and wise. And so she is communicating with the guardian of the flame of hope in a positive way. And they are both in trine with the moon and Chariklo. So the moon is the divine feminine of the entire situation that we've got going on here. The sun or Saturn represents the patriarchal authority figure, and the moon represents the feminine. She is the mother. She is the divine creator being. She is the bringer of life, the giver of life. She illuminates the darkness and shows us our way home. She's always there for us, always. And she is saddling up with Chariklo. And Chariklo was the wife of, what's his name? Chiron. Chiron. I don't really know how to say it. Everybody says it a different way. But he's hanging out over here in Aries at 19 degrees, which is also significant. There is a eclipse coming up in April of next year at this point. So it kind of ties back to this energy when significant things like, especially an eclipse or full moon, cross over these points that were highlighted in previous significant events. It kind of doubles over on itself. And so with Chariklo down here with the moon and Chiron up here at 19 of Aries, where this eclipse is going to take place in April, there is some heavy-duty healing energy going on. Chiron is the wounded healer. He was a centaur who got wounded in battle and had an unhealable wound. So I think it was similar to the Achilles heel. It was on his legs anyway. But there was a poison spear or dart, and depends on who's telling the story. And he was wounded in battle and had to go on. He was actually a doctor of sorts and a medicine man. And so he continued to go about doing that work in spite of his own unhealable injury. And so typically Chiron deals with childhood wounds. Those tend to be the most healable of them because they're the most difficult to identify. We don't like to acknowledge them or identify them. They kind of hide out in the dark. And so that is the energy that he carries. But his wife, Chariklo, is, Chariklo literally means graceful spinner. And so the immediate image that came into my mind when I saw that definition was Charlotte's Web and the spider, and how wise she is and how patient and kind and soft-spoken, a lot like a midwife or a doula. helping to transition us through these really, really trying times. And so where Chiron is in mythology more of a physical wound, although it is more of a mental trauma type manifestation in our lives, the story is a physical wound, and his wife Chariklo is more of a spiritual wound. And the original wound that we all carry, every single one of us, is separation from the divine, from the creator, and coming here and having, the veil, and not really being able to see beyond, and not being able to tangibly connect with the thing that connects us all. And so Chariklo is kind of the spiritual midwife that helps us to transition through all of these seasons. She's untangling the knots. I don't know if it's the same in your reality as it is in mine, but I know if there's ever anything that I can't figure out, I go and find an older, wiser woman. My mama, if I can help find her, but if not, I go and find an older, wiser woman, and she untangles the knots. She knows exactly where a paper clip is if I need it. She knows exactly how to get the stain out of my shirt. She knows exactly how to tell me not to cry over this stupid boy for the 15th time with patience and grace. That is Chariklo. Chariklo is the mother that we all want. She holds space for us and encourages us to hold space for each other. And again, provides that spiritual healing that we are all so desperate to have in our lives right now. I feel like, I know I am. I say all the time, I hate it here and I want to go home. So me and Chariklo about to become big buds, I believe. So that's those are all in trine. Now, Venus is also referred to sometimes as the morning star, and the pattern that she makes as she makes her orbit around the sun makes a star, makes literally a pentagram star. And a pentagram is not satanic, so y'all just hush and keep it to yourself. If you're gonna have that outdated opinion, I don't want to hear it. It's a pentagram is a star, a 5-pointed star. Ain't got nothing to do with Satan, unless you make it have something to do with Satan, so just hush. But I digress. With Venus doing her retrograde right now in Leo, she is crossing back and forth over Regulus. There's also some Sirius, not Sirius as in Sirius, but Sirius the star, the North Star. And so Sirius and Venus are swapping out right now as the morning star. And there is a pattern in astrology that's not really looked at a whole lot. I just am now learning about it, but it is significant for this lunation, and so I want to bring attention to it. Y'all forgive me if I get the words wrong, or if I stumble over them, if I don't include all the information, or leave something out, or get it wrong. Look it up for yourself if you're interested. I'm doing the best I can. This is very new knowledge for me. But a yod or a yod, depending on who teaches you, I guess, or where you learn, is the finger of God. In Hebrew, it literally means the finger of God, and so it's a divine intervention kind of situation when you get this alignment, whether natally or by transit or in progressions or however you want to run it. This chart that I've got up right now is just this full moon at the exact moment of the full moon. So you've got the yod is a quincunx and two quincunx and a sextile aspect, making a triangle, an elongated triangle. So it looks something like this. These are not alignments, but so that would be the quincunx, and then the sextile would be around here. So it's an elongated triangle. Then there is another aspect called quintile, and I believe the other one is biquintile. One of them is 72 degrees and one of them is 144 degrees. So it's two 144 degrees aspects and 172 makes a golden yod. And that is even more supercharged with divine power and presence than a regular yod. And that's what we've got going on here. So we have up here in Virgo, we have Sappho and Mars. And they are talking to, again, the moon and Chariklo. And then, let's see, what have we got? Oh, sorry, y'all. And they're talking to Chariklo's husband, Chiron. And so there is the golden yod. The way that these work is the planet at the apex up here unlocks the power of these. So we've got Chiron here, Chariklo and the moon here, and then we've got Mars and Sappho. And Sappho is a goddess from the island of Lesbos. She does deal with LGBTQ issues, but more than that, she is a solidarity amongst kinfolk, pretty much, amongst people who have things in common with you. So other women, the people in your sister circle, your soul sisters, your tribe. She is the solidarity. So the way that I'm interpreting this yod is Mars is action, and motivation and determination and willpower and strength. Mars is the god of war. It rules Aries, stubborn, headstrong, yada yada yada. And so Mars is pairing up with Sappho in solidarity of this action, of the determination to do the damn thing, y'all, to do the damn thing. And so that is unlocking the power that resides down here with Chariklo and Chiron. And that is both sides of our healing that we're also, starved for after the past couple of years, y'all, for real. But the feminine aspect of healing and the masculine aspect of healing are coming together with this full moon that gives us the strength to close these doors that are no longer leading to where we need to go, in this really, really powerful finger of God energy. But it gets even better because this is the, so if we don't connect this here, so let me see if I can get rid of that. Hang on. We'll just start over. Okay, so we got Mars and Sappho, Moon and Chariklo, and Chiron. Okay, so if we're gonna do like it's a star and not connect this here, so get rid of that. If we're just gonna do this, then the other point is here. And there's another one here to make this star. Right in the middle of Venus retrograde, right in the middle of Venus turning into the morning star and taking over from Sirius. And the ascendant here is our personal identity. So all of this is having to do with who we identify ourselves as. And I'm not talking about gender identity unless that's where you want to take it. I'm talking about who you are on the inside, showing up as real. Like this says up here. Be real. Full moon in Aquarius. Be real. Show up as your true, authentic self and be real, y'all. That is the energy that we've got here. Psyche is another asteroid that really, when it all boils down to it, it symbolizes our soul, our spirit, the part of us that connects us to the other side, the part of us that connects us to the divine, the creator spark within us. And all of this is going back to Vesta, the guardian of the sacred flame. And so there is just, really, really, really beautiful, sacred, divine, feminine wisdom and strength and perseverance and determination. Like, if there was ever a time for you to pull out your stubborn bitch face, and I'm not saying be a bitch to everybody, but sometimes you gotta be a bitch to get your point across. Sometimes when you say no and you keep on trying to close that door and they just keep on knocking, you got to be a bitch. And so I'm saying do what it takes. I'm saying that if you will just take the next step in this process, if you will surrender, first of all, to the divine, because it can't get any more smooth sailing than this, unless you fight it, unless you try to stay in your comfort zone, unless you don't realize the issues within yourself and the unhealthy things that you've been hanging on to out of habit, and fight the divine on this, then you're going to have a hell of a time. But if you just let go and surrender and trust in the process, this is carrying us like a shooting star, literally like a shooting star. You just grab a comet by the tail and hang on, because it's going to be a wild ride still. But man, is it going to be beautiful. I'm super excited, especially combined. I can't wait to tell y'all about this eclipse coming up in October. It's going to be really great. I think, again, if you surrender and let it unfold the way that it's meant to, the way that the divine intends for it to, it's going to be an awesome turning point, I think. I'm excited about it anyway. Y'all can, make your decision when I release that video in a couple of weeks, or a couple of days, hopefully. It'll probably be a couple of weeks. As long as it's out by October, I guess that's all that matters. And it will be that. But this has rambled on way longer than I intended. I intended for this to be a Facebook reel, so 30 seconds to a minute. I have no idea how long it is, but it's way more than that. And I'm not editing it, and I'm just going to throw it up on YouTube and let y'all have it. Like I said last night on Facebook, though, I will be on the pier here at Franklin Ferry around 9 tonight, just to do a meditation. Let the divine know that I'm down for the count. I'm on board for the ride, wherever this beautiful divine feminine energy wants to take me. It's got to be better than here, y'all. Just think of it that way. It's got to be better than here. If you have any questions, let me know. Also, one thing that I forgot to mention, this star that's up here now, so if we take away the cross section, if we're just doing this one, these areas right here are the areas that you would need to look for in your own personal chart to see if this is activating anything for you personally. And the house that it falls in, the sign, is going to be Scorpio and Gemini. So about 15 degrees of Scorpio and about 15 degrees of Gemini. If you have any personal planets there, the energy of that planet and the house that they fall in your natal chart is going to show how to best take advantage of this personally, and also how it's going to play out and what areas of your life is going to manifest. So if you need help figuring that out, just shoot me a message on Facebook. If you have my number, you can text me. Do not call me under any circumstances ever. I don't use my phone for that. But you can get in touch with me if you have any questions. Comment, underneath this. However you want to get me, as long as it ain't a phone call. And we'll look at it and see what it's got going on for you. But other than that, I hope that this full moon treats you kindly. I hope that you take advantage of this support that the universe is offering right now, because it's kind of a once-in-a-lifetime chance. And here in a couple of weeks, we've got a bunch of planets going retrograde, so it's about to pick up speed and up the ante a lot. So relax in the embrace of the divine here, and all that she has for you. Until next time.